everyone, and welcome to IGN Anime Club, episode 49. Yay anime!
Yay anime!
I'm your host, Marina Sanchez, and joining me today is Mike Mamone.
Hey.
Megan Sullivan.
Hello.
Callie Plaguey.
Hi.
And we're here to talk about anime.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's what we do.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention that happy belated birthday to Anime Club. This show's a year old.
Tanjoubi omedetou.
Yay. Yeah,
Awesome.
so our first episode was on April 8th, 2015. And we just passed that, so
Wow.
That's super cool.
somehow been a year already.
Can't believe, yeah.
It's
amazing.
weird. Yeah, so and then next week we'll have episode 50. I don't think we're going to do anything special. Just another episode.
Episode 50.
But it's
50.
a pretty cool landmark.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so with that, we're going to jump right into what we're talking about today. More anime from the spring season. There's tons. We're not even going to cover everything because we didn't have time to watch everything.
Tons and tons.
Yeah, we have so many pages.
I'm holding up
Yeah.
pages
I
of
was just like,
information.
oh, I'm just going to pass out these packets. Get ready.
Yeah. This is more than last week.
Yeah, and I'm excited. There's a few shows we missed, too. And then I'm like, all right, got to go watch that later tonight. So we'll have more to catch up on next week, but we'll pretty much go back into our normal format of having like a topic in addition to that. So, yeah, so let's jump in. What y'all want to talk about first?
Kiznaiver.
Yeah! So, new Trigger show, and if you guys don't know, that's my favorite studio, so I was just like, yes! 2 Trigger shows at once! That and Space Patrol Luluco is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so this one was interesting. I'm excited for the second episode because I have so many questions, which is good. You want to be able to... The goal of watching all these shows is we want to see which ones we want to continue, right? So this is one where I'm like, what even is this weird utopia happy town with the weird...
It's almost like a so what question, though. It's like, okay, so this episode features a bunch of kids, and they're like the new 7 deadly sins, but there's 6 of them.
Well, see, that's weird. That's the question: is who's the 7th?
Who's the 7th? But you can probably guess who the 7th is.
Yeah,
She's
probably.
probably standing in the room with
She's
them.
probably there. Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah.
And they all get tied through their pain. So like if one of them gets hurt, they all get hurt, and so it's like a little okay.
Well, see, I was thinking like,
Where does
okay, what are
this
the
go?
torture implications? What if one of them gets cramps? Like, what do you do?
Oh yeah.
I had a lot of questions. So, although this wasn't the most compelling show that I've seen thus far for the spring season, Trigger tends to always take it up a notch, and I'm like, what? So, I'm excited to see where they go with it, I guess.
Yeah. Especially because like a lot of their shows end up being like 2 parts. Like this first initial, here's your conflict, but it evolves into something else
For
that's
sure.
bigger.
Yeah.
And especially since they're trying to find a way to like make peace. It's like force peace. It's like, well, if you all feel pain, no one want to fight.
Yeah,
So-
that was a weird concept to me where
Yeah.
like this mysterious lady is all, the way to peace is for everyone to feel each other's pain. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I really don't think that's been a anti-war cry since like the Vietnam War. So I really don't know how.
What if someone's like a masochist or something? Where they
Exactly.
like pain?
Yeah, what if you're like, pain, eh?
Sadomasochist,
Yeah.
could be a problem.
You do you. No judgments. But, that really throws a kink in their plan.
Hey.
oh, jeez.
So, Miranda's shaking her head. Yeah. Also, I have no idea what Kiznaiver is supposed to mean.
Kizu like wound.
Kizu, like wound,
Kizu like
but then
wound, and I've
na-
never like
naver.
navigation or I don't know. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, what's interesting is Katsuhira, like, he already had white hair, and they had that whole intro sequence where he just like, when he was a kid,
Yeah.
and that girl just jumped off into the darkness. And, like, it seems like, because it's similar to like when he gets that cross on his chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's similar to like the wounds on their arms when they light up.
Yeah, I think
So
it's
I'm
supposed
wondering,
to be.
but like, was that?
Part of a previous experiment, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or something.
So he got experimented again.
Also, those wounds reminded me of like Goku stars from Kill la Kill.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, huh.
All ties together.
I can't wait to find
Same
like
universe.
the Kill la Kill, just the little ties. Well, there is on the bridge. It's a big old cross. It
Yeah.
looks like the scissors. I mean, yeah. Trigger's pretty good about placing like little things like, hey,
Yeah.
little Easter eggs.
egg.
Yeah. Little Easter eggs everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Also, what's up with those Gomarins, those mascot things that just run
Oh,
around?
yeah.
Those
What
things
is
are
that?
creepy.
I know.
Well, yeah, that was the main thing where I was like, okay, I need to watch the next episode because they're talking about like the happy town, we're all happy, and I'm like, that's creepy 1984 stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean the entire island or whatever the town is supposed to be like a test subject.
Yeah.
And everyone there is supposed to be tested on.
Yeah.
So like, it's a
Okay.
big science experiment.
Yikes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Don't live there.
Yikes. We'll see where it goes.
So next is Bungou Stray Dogs. Did you like?
Oof.
Did y'all like that?
So this one's like my
I'm
most
on the fence.
Oh, is it?
I'm on the fence. It's an interesting concept. I don't know about the execution.
I thought it was doing this weird like serious then funny thing.
Yeah,
where, like
I
the
couldn't
kids
quite
like
make
so
up the tone.
The tone was very weird to me, and I appreciate when it's done well, but I wasn't sure about how it was done in this episode. Like I'm homeless and I'm going to die of starvation, and then like lol, I can't wait to kill myself from this other guy, and I was like, okay, are we serious about dying or are we not serious about dying? I don't know what's going on, and I thought that the balance between the tone was off. I don't have a problem with serious and then comedy, but I think it was done weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I thought this one, just from the look of it, like when I first learned about it and saw it, this was like one of my most anticipated, just because it's by Bones and the art style and just the setting and the characters and their design. It just looks the most interesting to me this season. Yeah, I totally thought it was gonna be like a serious Joker game type of style anime. And then you see the legs just twitching on the river. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, like, is this a comedy or dark comedy?
what's going on here? But yeah, no, I can see what you're talking about. I do like the comedy in it. Wasn't what I expected, but I like it. Kind of like a dark humor thing. But and the whole like agency with like different powers and stuff.
So basically what's going on in this show is like there's people who have special powers, which is something we've seen a lot, but the way they do it is sort of interesting. Like the main kid doesn't really know what's going on, and he's sort of just floating in between, and he encounters these people from this agency, and that's a cool concept, and I'm interested to see the follow-up to that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So if you kind of get the humor a little bit if you've seen Soul Eater, because the director that did Soul Eater did this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can definitely feel that and see that in here.
Yeah.
And they're obviously going for a very lighthearted show.
I mean, they also did Fullmetal Alchemist too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't see that. But anyway, he also worked on other shows. So, cool facts.
Oh, you meant the studio.
The studio,
No,
sorry.
yeah,
the
no,
studio.
the director.
The director.
Yeah, she's
the
talking about the
director
director.
Gotcha.
did Soul Eater before, and Orin High School Host Club.
That's right.
Yeah, so fun facts. So that kind of helps explain the style a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right. Like I get what they're going for. I was not ready when it was like super serious. I was kicked out of my orphanage and they told me I was going to die in a ditch and no one would care. And then suddenly, oh, now we're comedy. And I was like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny this guy tried to kill himself? Hot. Maybe.
Yeah, that's not exactly a funny thing, but
I'm not super a fan of the suicide jokes. I did think it was funny when he was reading the book about how to kill yourself, and then the guy's like, why are you reading that? He's like, it's a really good book. I've read it before. And he's like, well, why are you reading it now? He's like, it's still a good book even if you read it before.
Yeah.
And he's like reading up on suicide, and I was like, all right.
This is getting weird.
yeah, that was just it's kind of on the same with you guys. It's like on the fence. Like I'll keep watching it.
Yeah.
First episode wasn't super great, but it was still cool enough.
I like the concept, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, and next one, Megan and I watched Flying Witch.
Flying Witch.
Super chill.
I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, it's a super relaxing anime. It's beautifully done, beautiful art direction about this girl goes to the country, staying with relatives there, and she happens to be a witch. I'm waiting for her to start a delivery service at this point.
So it definitely feels like Kiki's Delivery Service and a lot of its concepts too, because an idea is that whenever these girls turn 15, it's a little bit different age for Kiki's, but they have to leave their homes and they're an adult and like they have to go make their own way. But this is a little skewed because she's like, well, my parents don't really think, being a witch is a good profession anymore. So they want me to finish school. But also they're not really comfortable with her being on her own. So they're like, go live with your family, like extended family. So she's going to go live with her second cousin. And so it's this kind of cute little, well, we're compensating for modern times.
Sure. And she's talking to people and they discover she's a witch. And some people are like, meh, whatever. And some people are like, that's not usual.
So yeah, that's the weird thing too, is because that witches, like I guess they don't really hide their identity, but they don't really reveal that they're witches either.
Yeah.
Like eventually she reveals in the episodes like, oh yeah, we just kind of talk about that like among witches and like their family. You don't really talk about it with anybody else. And this girl she's been like blabbing to is like, don't involve me, because she doesn't want to get hurt or anything. Or
Yeah, she's like, is this the kind of
involved.
secret you have to kill me once I know it kind of thing?
Oh, God.
But I thought it was funny at the end, like the main character like brings out a mandrake, and there's a real
so cute.
It's super
The
cute.
mandrake?
Yeah, actually, mandrake roots are super creepy. They look like humans, and there's an old legend that says if you pull a mandrake out of the ground, it will scream and you'll die.
So like in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So so it's like an old legend. I like they sort of reference that when it's like, all right, cover your ears. This thing just lets out this hideous scream, and then it just looks dazed and confused because it's been yanked out of the ground. And it's like, here you go. You can have it. It's really poisonous and everything, but it does like medicinal stuff and blah blah blah. You see this giant human-looking root just flailing its arms and making these weird sounds. I'm like, oh, there's nothing like a present like a mandrake.
Yeah,
root.
and so the witch girl is trying to give this to her new kind of like a friend acquaintance through her cousin who goes to the same school as her. And so they're walking home together. She's like, I just sniffed out a mandrake. Here you go. It's like, what?
Yeah.
So it's really weird. Like, obviously, this is the episode of like settling, and very literally too, because she just moved to this town.
Yeah.
She used to live there 6 years ago, and she's come back. And so far, it's just cute. It's just
very
easygoing,
cute, very chill.
nice. I'm curious to see where it goes, because obviously there's going to be other witches involved, because you saw like in the episode and like the ending
And
and
yeah.
opening, and they were all alerted by the mandrake. It's super cute. I mean, I think that the messengers and Bloodborne are cute, so that's my standard.
There you go.
It's just a little baby plant just
That's adorable.
flailing around. It's funny.
Mandrakes.
Yeah.
Oh, mandrakes.
They're a thing. All right. So that's that. And then
Yeah.
I'm so pumped about the next one.
Mhm.
Which one?
Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. So, Miranda, you and I watched this one. This is only on Amazon Prime, which is interesting.
Super odd.
Bizarre.
Which is very weird.
And I don't think that's really great. Like,
Yeah.
cool that Amazon wants to reach out and do more with their anime, because they don't have a really great library or catalog right now
Right.
for Prime streamers. But them getting into simulcasting is very weird, because you're immediately limited, because Amazon Prime is so expensive.
Right. And I Googled it and it was hard to find legally. So that's why we're saying, like, it's on Amazon Prime. You can watch it legally, but there is that barrier to entry, which is too bad because it's super cool. This is a really cool show.
Yeah, so it's like Amazon Prime is $100 a year, or $50
Yeah.
for students. And then, of course, it comes with all the other Amazon benefits.
Right.
But yeah, onto the show, though. It's by Wit Studio, so the people who did Attack on Titan, and you can very much tell that. Like, the tone, the way the show is going, there's a wall, it gets broken.
Yeah.
Wall too?
So basically,
Well, that
this
makes
is a sort of steampunky society of people who have to protect themselves from the Kabane, which are basically these like rabid zombies that are really hard to kill because they have cages over their hearts. Like the most of us
Whoa.
do. It's called
Yeah.
your rib cage, but also these are like very hardened cages over their hearts. And the opening scene is so cool because like it's this train, and I guess it's either a supply run sort of train or something. Wasn't super clear, but it's like armored, and it has like a snowplow sort of set up in the front to just plow through these zombies, and it's people trying to like get them off the train, and somebody gets bitten, and it's immediately like, all right, use the suicide bag. And I was like, oh, okay.
Whoa.
It's super violent, super gory. I was all about this one.
Super
One girl
cool.
almost got her hair pulled out of her head. It was
Yeah.
I was just
What?
like, whoa, what is happening? It's like,
It's-
oh yeah, I mean, this is Wit Studio. So.
It's extremely violent, which for me, I was like, yeah.
It's done super well too, though. I mean, like,
It's
that's
done well. It's not like, it doesn't feel gratuitous. It's appropriately distressing
Yeah.
for what's going on. And basically the main kid is not like a fighter or a soldier or anything.
He's
He's
not-
just an inventor.
your typical like shonen hero, or just like anything, which is really nice.
It's very nice. And he's trying to sort of like not outsmart them, but he's using his intellect and his knowledge of like machinery to make a better weapon that can pierce through their armored heart cages.
Interesting.
And it's just really cool. He's very knowledgeable, and he clearly like is trying to study their anatomy. And the rest of the people around him are very trigger happy, scared, and he's kind of going at it with like, I'm not going to run from this. I'm going to face it head on. And it's really, really well done. And in the ending like credits scene, you can clearly tell it's Wit Studio because of it. Like they look like they're using 3D maneuver gear. It's just I loved this one. Oh, this is one of my favorites.
It's a weird mix of like steampunk, feudal Japan, and zombies.
And there's this adorable girl with like
the best.
knife shoes.
Knife shoes.
And they have little bells on them, so she jingles every time she walks, and it's really cute.
It's my
death.
aesthetic. I want to wear jingly knife shoes.
All right.
Why can't I be
super
that?
That kind of
menacing.
sold me right there. Because we were talking about this before we started the podcast, but I watched the second episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and it's such a violent series. Like, it's good, but it's violent. So you guys are talking about this. It's like, I really want to watch it, but I'm so squeamish about blood. And like, I don't know about
people
this.
getting like their arms chomped off by
It's
It's
lovely
lovely.
zombies.
extremely. There's a like a sort of hanging sort of scene. It's very gruesome, which is
grim.
something that like I've never had a problem with, but
Awesome.
definitely proceed with caution
Definitely
if
wanna
that is
watch that.
something that like you're squeamish about or you have a hard time with blood or something. Like, oh god, there's so much blood.
There's a lot of blood. A lot of people die in this.
And this, I love the way the zombies are animated too, because they kind of glow.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. Like the way they move is animated really well. They have this sort of like jerky, very animalistic kind of
And, like
movement.
they run around like
Like the
on all
quick
fours a lot
zombies
too.
type-
Yeah,
they like
Ah.
are crawling on
they,
stuff.
they straight up like roar and like
Yeah.
scream. It's so cool.
Nice.
I am so hype about this show.
Yeah, I was watching it last night. I was very surprised.
I see the reason
happy.
I'm so pumped is I watched it like just before this recording, while I was at my desk, and then I was like, yeah, Iron Fortress.
I'm so glad I have an Amazon Prime account, but I do think it kind of sucks for people who don't.
Yeah,
it's just weird.
yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
that's really weird.
that's the big takeaway is like the show's really cool. Is Amazon going to expand their library to maybe incentivize people to get Prime to watch shows like this? How does that work? What is the future going forward with Amazon Prime?
You can tell with like some of the comments from their reviews, I guess you could say, are kind of confused by it too, because like Amazon, they do release episodes of shows through other shows that just kind of, you can subscribe to a season, but you can't do that with this. You have to have Prime. You
Yeah.
cannot subscribe to the show. You can't just pay up front to have it. And so some of the people in the comments were like, hey, when's the next episode? Like, is this supposed to be like a normal thing, or like what's happening?
Yeah,
So
is
it's
it
not
simulcast?
very
How are you releasing
clear.
them? Because
Yeah.
I mean, like I've watched plenty of shows where you buy on Amazon where you buy
Yeah.
the episode individually. Like I watched a lot of The Walking Dead that way. It's so appropriate. And yeah, this is different. I happen to have a Prime account. I've had one for like years, so it like auto renews and I never think about it. Oops.
It's like, oh yeah, remember?
Oh yeah, that's like $100.
What happened to my money?
It's a lot of money.
But you save on shipping if you buy a lot of toys like I do. So
There you go.
you know, that's not real. Don't listen to my financial advice. But yeah, it's like press play to watch sort of deal. It isn't a pay individually. You can't individually subscribe to a show like Miranda said. So
Yeah, maybe they'll
Very
have that at the end of the season. Like we'll see. That would be
Maybe.
interesting if they do
oh,
the
like
offer
pay to
that
watch,
option.
not simulcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see what happens with that. Let us know what you guys think and what you guys thought about the episode and about Amazon Prime getting anime.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
All right.
All right, Megan. Looks like you watched
Megan
something.
is in
It's all
charge
you.
of this one.
So I watched something called Haven't You Heard? I'm Sakamoto. And it's this, I don't know how to explain it. It's this anime about this guy, Sakamoto. He's like a first year at high school. And no matter what he does, it's cool. And it makes all the guys jealous at high school. So they're always trying to play pranks on him. So, you know, everything from taking away his chair to throwing his desk out the window, all this other stuff. But every time they try to trip him up, he does something really cool that impresses all the girls. So like in one episode, like the first episode, like he walks into class, someone like pulls a chair out from under him. Instead of falling down, he sits in the air. And then they throw his desk out the window. So he goes on the windowsill and he poses really sexy. He's like, I'm ready for class. And so the concept is really funny. I feel like this anime could do a lot better if it were like in smaller vignettes instead of being 20 minutes long. It would be better if it's like 5 to 7
Like
minutes.
quick
Gotcha.
gag
Like
sort of
quick
style.
gag style. Instead, it's a full-length anime. And I feel like that hurts the pacing a little bit. But I like the concept of no matter what this guy does, he's just really cool about it. And he's not a braggart or anything. Like he's just that, I know I'm awesome.
He's just great.
You know what? Yeah, it's like
Perfect.
I'm
the
not a
opposite
bad
of me.
guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy. So yeah,
Interesting.
ladies
a
want to be with me, guys want to be me.
Yeah,
sort of
exactly.
Deal. Yeah.
So I haven't heard him Sakamoto. We'll see where it goes. It's okay. I do wish it was shorter vignettes. I think it would be more powerful, like have bigger impact. But I liked it. I laughed.
For some reason, I was thinking of like JoJo poses when you were talking about them. It's like-
You're almost
you know,
there. Like
or-
it's yeah. They
It's
don't
like-
quite do that, but yeah.
Cool. I'm excited to check that one out. I have heard a lot about the manga.
Yeah.
So and it seems cool.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it seems cool. It's probably funnier in manga form just because it's probably smaller
Okay,
chunks.
yeah.
But
Probably.
I would take a look.
Yeah. Cool. The next one we also watched is Twin Star Exorcists. I know that one's supposed to be kind of big on the shonen front.
Meh.
Eh.
Meh. Okay.
So first off, let me say that I'm very disappointed that these people actually aren't twins.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna be twins.
I thought this was like the Sanrio twin star characters.
Oh, that'd be so much better.
I was like, is this a Sanrio show? And then I looked at the thumbnail and I was like, nope. And then I didn't watch it. Sounds like that it wasn't too compelling anyway.
And I'm so disappointed because the whole idea of omyoji, which are these exorcists slash ancient priests from ancient Japan, like I always love that concept and the lore and story behind them. But something about this just didn't land. It's kind of boring. It was really weird.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like an RPG type anime?
No,
No?
thankfully.
Okay.
Except the
Right.
one RPG type anime we have this year or this season is actually pretty good.
Yes.
I'm actually super digging it. Anyway, back to Twin Star Exorcists. It's about, I guess, some exorcists that are going to a new school and they're kind of being scouted as being, you know, like the best. And there's just one girl who's just like, no one's gonna beat me, and that's great. And this other guy who's being scouted is like, I don't want to do this anymore because I had a real bad time one day.
some tragedy happened, and so he's like, I don't want to
failed
be an exorcist.
everyone and I can't do it.
Yeah.
And then he gets put in a position where they're together and he has to fight to help her. And they take down a real big demon guy and they save some kids and it's a good day for them.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the episode.
That's very paint by numbers.
Yeah. And that's cool, but the characters just weren't super engaging.
They were
like
super flat.
Yeah, it just felt like I've seen you guys before. That's the problem I think the show's gonna have is like, oh, I mean, it's a different setting, different kind
I wonder
of thing.
if it's based on a game because I feel like End Ride or whatever
know
the other
this
show
is
is based on an RPG or a game, and it feels like that kind of pacing. Like it feels like we're trying to get from plot point to plot point. We're not really developing the characters or their motivation, and so I was like, I get it. This guy doesn't want to be an exorcist, but he finds himself in this fight, and they have to fight together to save people from these demons and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I've seen this so many times. Like,
It was
what
just,
is it that's different
manga.
about this? Yeah, like what is different about this?
Yeah, I mean, like, I just hope it gets better. Like, this first episode was very, oh, I saw this and now I'm not really into seeing it again.
Yeah.
But I will because I always try to give some of these bigger shows, like, a little bit more time to develop. Like, that's
Sure.
fine.
Rule of 3.
Yeah, rule of 3. But where does the twin part come from? So I'm just really excited about twins because I'm a twin. And so anytime I see twins, I get real excited about that. But they're not
They're
twins.
twin stars. I don't even know what that means.
Do
I
they
still don't get how it's not the Sanrio twin star.
Yeah, so
They don't explain that at all in the first episode?
no, they just, I know that whenever they exercise the demon things, that they kind of explode in these little star things.
Oh,
And that they use, call these talismans and stuff. I don't know how it's related yet. But
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's whatever.
we'll figure out someday. Let us know what you guys think about that.
Yeah.
These non-twin star exorcists.
Not twin stars. I think that should be the name of the show. Yeah.
Next, way more engaging.
Yes.
Joker game.
Oh, yeah.
Joker game might be the one
I love
that
this one.
is my favorite so far.
Period piece, just for you,
Yeah,
Megan.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. There it
I'm
is.
super into this. It's like slightly before World War II era, and World War II era is like one of my favorite times in history, which probably makes me very boring, but like I just really like studying it. So I'm super stoked. It's
Doesn't make you boring. It's a really interesting.
it's a really interesting
period of
time in
Yeah.
history. I don't know. I saw someone on the internet that was like, "You're so predictable because you like World War II." Whatever. I think it's interesting. So maybe it's all the shooters I played as a child. But it's about spies,
It is
Yes.
about
which
spies.
is so cool and interesting and
Spy school.
spy school, but like not in a weird cheesy way.
Like a jerk,
they are such jerks.
It's a cerebral suspense anime is how I describe it. It's
Yeah.
very cerebral. it's games and plots within plots within plots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we follow a guy who's not necessarily a spy. He's from the federal government. He was in the
Sakuma?
military.
He was in the military school.
Yeah.
Yes.
So government sent him over. It's like, hey, we need you guys to watch this project. Spies, monitor them, like report in, and you give them orders from us.
Yeah.
And they don't take too well to that.
They really like messing with him, and
yeah.
He's very obviously the outcast.
Totally.
Yeah, very clearly, and he is much more straightforward while they are playing like Megan said, games within games within games. Just they're playing poker, but it's not really poker. It's designed to weed people out, and basically they just pull the rug out from under him because he's so linear. His thought process is pretty basic in their eyes, and he sees them as cowardly. He thinks spies are cowards. They don't do the direct approach. They sneak around behind the scenes, and it's just really interesting seeing their dynamic. And there's also an interesting foreigner who speaks in anime English, and it's great. And we're trying to Miranda and I were talking this morning, trying to figure out what country he's supposed to be from, because this is 1937. So I know Japan, thanks to the History of Japan video on YouTube.
Yeah, check it out.
had been allied with Britain, but moving into World War II, allied with
obviously
Germany.
breaks
So obviously, we all know how that turned out. So it's unclear if this foreigner is supposed to be German, because they suspect him of being a spy. So I'm like, is he supposed to be a British spy? He's probably not an American spy, because America was not involved in the
but
war.
there were
at
U.S.
this point.
diplomats.
There were
I mean,
US
there were
diplomats.
diplomats
Of
there. If you've ever read a awful book called, well, it's not awful, what happens is awful, but Eyewitnesses to Massacre, about the rape of Nanking and other horrible things. There were diplomats at the time who were witnesses. So this was during Japan's occupation of China. So it's still possible he was American. I assumed he actually was, because he even
I thought
brought up.
maybe he was British.
He could be, but he didn't have like a British. It was hard to tell.
He
but
was speaking English, but sometimes any European.
But it was like
speaks
English.
Yeah.
So it was hard to
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah, it's possible it was like a League of Nations sort of delegate sort of style person, because the whole invasion
Blonde
of
guy.
Manchuria was
Yeah.
was not
Blonde dude.
not a whole thing that the League of Nations particularly enjoyed.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing with like
The
the
government at the
lieutenant's gonna
Yeah.
he's gonna kill himself
if you don't find anything at the end.
Yeah, so they have to go raid this foreigner's
foreigner's-
house to see if he's a spy, because they suspect of him as being a spy. Like they call him like a Japanophile. Like he prays to the emperor's portrait. And
It's so funny. They basically call him an otaku without the word otaku, because
Right.
it wasn't a thing yet. But he's just like really into Japan.
yeah, they're like,
Japanophile.
this guy's really weird. You know, he's probably hiding something. And so essentially they set them up to fail. But the spies also kind of know that, so they set up, the lieutenant to fail.
Yeah.
Even harder if that's going to happen. But I kind of don't think they will, because, the show
Yeah.
has to go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a moment I really liked, especially the thing that's cool about like period dramas or like anything that's set in a historical era that's not an alternate universe. This seems to be like, it's based in a little bit of here's what actually happened in 1937.
Yeah, they have a disclaimer that it's based on fiction,
based on fiction,
blah blah blah.
but
But you
it's-
kind of get the feeling
It's not like an alternate universe. It's not like, oh, this is the track of the history where Japan wins. There's just this moment toward the middle of the episode where one of the spies is like, well, if Japan loses, and the main character, the military guy, is kind of like, if Japan loses, like he had never.
How could you say that?
Yeah, he had never thought of that, and it creates this tension because we know Japan loses, and so I just thought that was interesting because he knowing that Japan is going to lose this war, spoilers, the tension that I feel for this patriot who it's not going to go well for him. He does everything for Japan, and that's not going to work. I don't know how far into the war they're going to get, but that's really interesting to me.
Yeah.
His whole worldview being shattered basically by the politics and the military, dynamic.
Mike, what'd you think?
I'm curious actually because then the reason why they're in that spy organization is because they passed that superhuman like test to be in that group, and so far they've shown like very suave spy James Bond type of like demeanor. So I'd be curious to see what else they can do. But yeah, that Joker game they played.
it's really mind. It's all about
Yeah,
mind
it's
games.
really that's intense. Like I wasn't sure how this game the show was gonna go, but seeing that unfold was
I love this
Blew
kind of
my mind.
suspense
Yeah.
thriller. Like I like
Yeah.
the intellectualism behind it. Like who's the bad guy? They're constantly switching sides during the Joker game.
Yeah.
I love history. Fight me. And I don't
cool.
think it's boring
Yeah.
at all. Like I think it's
History's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
History's awesome.
You just
And
gotta
so-
tell the right stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. So looking forward to seeing how this unfolds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also just to hit on your point, Mike, like these guys had to like swim in freezing waters to pass this test and be in this school, and they were narrowed down from like a bigger pool of students. I'm
like
excited
8.
to see like one of them in action, like
Yeah.
like suddenly like up to someone's neck with a knife, you know, kind
Exactly.
of thing. Like
Yeah.
I want to see that where because now they're very calm and cool and playing it cool, and they
Yeah.
kind of roll out in their suits and they're gonna get dinner, and I can't wait to see one of them just snap into fight mode.
Assault
It's
assassin
so-
mode.
It's so cool.
be great. But yeah, can't wait.
Yeah. So next show we have The Lost Village. Megan, what'd you think? I haven't had a chance to check it out.
I'm a little disappointed. I thought it was okay. It's a little Danganronpa sort of dark. You know, you have all these people and who's guilty, who's going to die first kind of thing. And it unfortunately telegraphs a lot of who I think is going to survive and who I think is going to get killed off first. So no one's died yet in the first episode, but you kind of get the feeling that's where it's going. And then by process of elimination, it gets down to like the final 4.
So do they kill each other, or are they getting picked off by something else?
So that's an interesting question. I don't know yet. I don't know the entire premise. You go to this lost village, which no one can ever find on a map. The police don't know about it. Somehow, even going to the village, they have a group of people, each with their own reasons for trying to leave their life behind. Like they keep talking about it almost as a rebirth. Like you're going to die and leave yourself behind, and they're going to be reborn to a totally different life. And you start suspecting, it's like, do you mean that figuratively or literally?
Oh,
And so you know something is coming and something dark and drastic is coming. It's like, are any of these people going to survive this? Like you just get the feeling that this is going to be a weird, Royal Rumble type of creepy thing.
have you read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie?
Yes, but a long time ago.
So just from your description, it sounds sort of like that, where it's like we're all coming to this place that nobody really knows about, and we may or may not die, and you don't know who's killing everybody.
I wonder if it's based on that. Cause
I mean, from what you're saying, it sounds very similar to this book, and I really love that book, so I kind of want to check out this show now. But you also sound kind of
I'm kind of on the fence because
yeah.
because it feels like it's telegraphing a little bit of just based on the character personalities of I get the feeling that these people who are being zeroed in on are going to survive, and these people
Of
are
course.
obviously going to. I
Right.
mean, there's
I
only
hope
so much they can do to
surprise
avoid
you and
that,
they
but-
just kill them off first.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that'd be amazing.
yeah.
People are
sorta,
too scared to kill off their main characters, unless you're Game of Thrones.
unless you're
Yeah, unless you're George R. R. Martin.
yeah. Or Danganronpa sort of had that flavor too, but
Sure.
yeah, or maybe it's supposed to be a bait and switch where they're like, here's who you think's important. Just kidding.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
Or I could turn it into a giant comedy, and I'm wrong about all of this.
It definitely sounds like a rule of 3 candidate. Like I really want to get into this. I
Yeah.
mean, just,
Cool.
Even though you seem on the fence, like
I'm on the fence now, but I
But
definitely
that's
think
fair,
that the
like-
next 2 episodes will ratchet it up. Like they have to establish the world and characters and the premise.
Yeah.
So I'm patient with it. It didn't blow my mind, but I'm
Right.
open to watching more.
great.
Do the
cool.
characters just find themselves in there accidentally, or
No. They all want to leave their lives behind for different
Oh, all of
reasons.
them.
And so it's
wow.
deliberate, but you had to go through a really super secret process to even find out about this whole thing. And they're all slightly on the fence crazy.
Makes
in
sense.
their own ways. Like, yeah, it's like
Yeah,
some
if you're
people
gonna
are
abandon
very
your
like
life.
normal seeming, and then other people seem completely nuts. But you get the feeling that they all have some issues in their life they're trying to run away from. So
Cool.
All right.
So
Cool.
I guess we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully it
Yes.
picks up and gets weirder.
What else did you watch, Megan?
I'm sorry, guys. My throat is giving out.
No,
I'm
it's
getting
totally
over
fine.
the IGN zombie plague.
We've
so-
all had it.
Yeah, we've all
Everybody's
literally
been
had this
At least
plague.
no one had
I'm
to
a-
shoot you in the heart.
Yet.
That's good.
Yeah, I could turn at any moment. So I watched And You Thought There Is Never a Girl Online, which is this season's Harem anime. And it was okay. It was about this guy who plays an online game. He comes across a couple other players that he teams up with. They're male characters who turn out to, like, 2 male and, like, 1 female character. And it turns out they all go to the same high school, because of course they do. And they meet each other in real life. And the guys in the game turn out to be girls, cute girls in real life. That's the title. And you thought there was never a girl online.
Question: is it not a statement on having to play as a guy so you don't get harassed?
No. Why would it be?
All right, you lost me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I mean, you didn't lose me. The show lost me because when I read the title, I was like, "Oh, interesting, huh?" Never mind. They're not gonna.
No,
do
I mean,
anything
they haven't
with that.
said why they chose male characters. They might say something in the second episode, but given this is a harem anime,
Is it a short? Or
No,
is it a full?
it's a
Okay.
full episode. There's nothing super ecchi or fan servicey so far. There's a little bit, but not a lot.
That's surprising.
We'll see where it goes. It's okay. I liked the concept of, hey, they're actually very competent female players who are better than the male character, but how long does that last, and when does that change? And the one girl is totally goofy and useless and blah blah blah, and I'm like, I hope it doesn't do the predictable beats. I hope it goes in a different direction, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, and also for harem, like, is the dude likable at all? 'Cause that's an important point
He's
for me.
okay. There's nothing outright objectionable about him, but he's not.
Is he pretty much the typical harem guy? Like
He's sort of
I'm
like
pretty
the bland.
Yeah,
you can
okay.
project your own id onto this guy, and it's
Okay.
fine. He's okay. He's not terrible.
Okay.
I get that. You call that the pants character. It's a pair of pants you can put on and
Sure.
and wear. I got that from this comic called The Oatmeal. But yeah, the kind of character that, I mean, like, there's a use for that character, right? Like, projecting
absolutely.
yourself onto something. But also, like, for me, watching a harem, it's more of like, you girls could do better, though. So, we'll see.
It's like, what if you just made an interesting guy? Like, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Like, Nisekoi.
Nisekoi's real good. So,
Sure. There you go.
Surprise. Cool. Well, I guess we'll see more what that's about later. And
All right.
you two have another one.
Yeah. We watched Cerberus, Megan. What do you think?
I got halfway through and I got bored and I stopped.
Ooh.
Oh,
is this
no!
for the first episode?
Yeah.
Oh.
I got bored.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. It's just, at first I thought this was another RPG anime, just regular old fantasy. But then every time I see that, I'm like, ugh, dragon, ugh.
Good.
But yeah, like Hiro, the main character, he's just not really interesting, to be honest. Like how it opens up is that there's this big dragon, they're trying to trap it in this force field.
Yeah.
Because it's killing everyone. But then it breaks through, obviously. The parents die, unfortunately, but he survives.
As always.
Yeah,
Yeah, typical.
And like it's about him, and he's grown up now, and he's trying to learn to fight to take out that dragon. And the whole time he's just not that. Like it's interesting because I thought the way they portrayed him at the beginning, it's like, oh, he has this huge sword, he can do damage, and then he takes out his sword out of the sheath. It's like a tiny thing. And I'm like, okay, but he's like acting all cool, and he's like, he slices through some guys, and they're like, and then they're like, oh, we're fine. I'm like, what's going on? So I mean, it's just, I don't know. Like the support characters, I don't care for them either. Just, it's kind of, like you said, it's boring.
They're cookie cutter.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says, oh, I'll remember this character. And I think that's the problem. Like, the concept is interesting. Like, the world building could be interesting, but
Yeah.
the characters themselves are like, it could be any character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if there's any other animes that are similar to this, they're beat it out for
Yeah.
sure. So now, and I watched episode 2, and my opinion hasn't changed, to be honest. So
That's too bad.
yeah, I don't know.
Rip.
but,
We tried.
yeah. I was hoping it would be a little bit like Dragonheart, because there's a connection between the boy and the dragon.
Oh.
But like, I don't see that happening.
Eh.
But anyway, aside from that, nah.
Oh,
All right.
that's a shame.
Yeah.
Mike, you had another show you've been
Yes, I did.
watching.
So I decided to watch Tanaka-kun is Always Listless. And the only reason why I wanted to watch is because the art for the anime, he just sits there and his eyes are like glazed over. I'm like, this guy looks really weird, and I want to know why.
Sounds relatable.
Yeah.
I was about to
Like,
say,
that's
that's
me.
really relatable, yeah. Always
yeah.
listless.
No, yeah. So yeah, I took a chance at it. It's interesting. Like the guy's just, he's just sleeping all the time. That's pretty much the whole.
So that's
Sleep, the anime.
that's the premise is.
Yeah. This guy.
How
is
do they
just-
make that interesting?
He's just huge, like very lethargic.
Yeah.
Has no energy for anything.
Me.
Not yeah, not very enthusiastic about anything at all. His goal is pretty much to be as lazy as possible. So
I like this.
Maru's cousin? No.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
I don't know.
Maru's long lost cousin.
yeah, it's really
It's a short, right?
No, it's not. It's a full.
Oh man, I thought this one was short too.
Yeah.
So
Jeez.
So what? I believe this can be interesting, but what about it? Like, how is watching him be as lazy as possible?
So
like, how does this show make that?
Like he's trying to find like optimum ways to like be like just perfect ways that he can like just go to sleep or rest, you know?
Oh,
like,
so
you
like
know,
optimizing
like,
your laziness.
It's like if I put my if I put my hand on my wrist, this is perfect like positioning, but then my
So,
wrist gets all like cramped up.
Practical advice for sleeping in class. You
Exactly.
mean.
Yeah.
A how-to guide.
No, yeah.
This is what I call like the engineering mindset.
Yeah.
Because I really admire that. My dad's an engineer, and like he'll put so much effort into making something slightly easier. Like like when universal like remotes with touchscreens were first a thing, my dad got one and like spent days making it work with all of the stuff like the Xbox and the DVR, and my mom was like, just use 2 controllers, it's fine. And he was like, no, and he put in all this effort to make things slightly easier so you wouldn't have to find 2 controllers. This is what that sounds like to me, where it's like someone who's like, I'm so lazy, I'm gonna put all of my effort like and brain power into optimizing how lazy I can be.
Yep.
In computer science classes, they always say like, computer science is about getting the computer to do your work for you.
Yeah.
And that's what you put your work into.
Yep.
And I just love that. All right. I'll check it out. I'm interested.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Yeah.
I
like,
do want to know the perfect sleeping position.
I do.
For, when you're in class or in a meeting, and you're just like, oh, if I could just.
So does he try to be sneaky about it, or is he just like, man, I'm sleeping here?
it's a little bit of both. It's like he wants to, like in class, he'll just always change it up just to, and he's always napping. Every time you see him, he's just napping. Then he wakes up like, yeah, no, just and there was a scene where he was lying on the grass, and then he was explaining to his friend Ota, just like why he's laying on the grass, and I'm like, that sounds great right now. I wish I was laying in the grass in the sun.
So is it good though? Do you like it?
It's funny. I think it's an interesting character because I haven't seen that type of character before. For me anyway, in terms of the anime, I watched, like even like his, like there'll be like little swipes between or transitions between scenes, and it's just Ota, just like his friend, just picking him up on his shoulder and just carrying him. Because he does, I guess he doesn't want to walk around. And Ota's probably the best friend, by the way. Yeah, it's I don't know. I was watching my girlfriend. She was laughing like the whole time, like.
Okay.
But like I thought it was funny, and I kind of want to see more. Like
Cool.
it's just I'm not quite sure where it's gonna go. It's kind of like just a typical slice of life, but this guy just doesn't like to do anything. But I enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see.
It sounds like a great informational anime that I'll watch so I can learn tips on how to sleep.
Yeah.
So
It's actually a how-to. This is not fiction.
how to be lazy.
how to get away with being lazy.
Cool.
Yeah, and I watched another one.
Yeah.
I watched Shonen Ashibe Gogo Goma-chan. This is a short, 9 minutes long. I don't know why I decided to watch this, but like I just saw a little kid, a chibi kid, and his pet, his white sea lion friend. And I'm like, I want to see this. And in kind of like Snow Patrol, it's random. Like just finding the seal. Like he went out to go see. Like he told his dad to go. I'm gonna go look outside and see if mom's coming home. And then he's looking around, and then Chuck passes by, and then a white sea lion falls off the back, and then he's like, "Hey, I got dinner."
No!
Yeah. But then then he's like, "Oh, this is a sea lion."
Too cute.
Yeah.
You can't eat a
Yeah.
sea lion.
No, yeah,
Precious babies.
it's a super cute anime.
They're so cute.
You just hold it on your head. Just like, look, I got this
I know
little baby.
all the sea lion does is like cute. I'm like,
Oh,
and I'm like, oh my god. Like, yeah, it's super cute. For 9 minutes, that's not bad. Like, I'd watch it, and I enjoyed it. Like, it's shows like this. I wish I had when I was a kid, because like, man, my cartoons back then. Well, I mean, aside from like Pokemon or whatever, but like just like these shorts, like I would rather watch this than like maybe Arthur, But yeah, like at one point he runs into this bully, and then what's his name, Ashibe, like he's like it looked like he was gonna fight him, but he did like this, he jumped on him and hugged him, and he's like, brother love hold. And the guy's like, oh, I don't know what to do, but I feel so good.
that's so cute.
So like
That's
it's just
adorable.
like, yeah, super adorable. I'm kind of glad I decided to take a look at it because I'm probably gonna watch more because I don't usually watch those shorts, but
Shorts
yeah.
are nice.
they're nice.
They're good.
Yeah.
Because we'll
They're
break
comfy
between
and
the
easy to
shows.
So yeah, if you want a super adorable sea lion anime, watch it.
I will. Thank you.
All right.
Cool. And so that's all we had to get to this week. There's a few more. Like there's that one Netflix one. I forgot what it's called.
Kuromo Kuro? Something like that.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Only on Netflix.
Yep.
What
It's
are
all
you
split
gonna
up
do?
this time. That's
We're all
fine.
over the place.
Happens. But it's like just one.
Yeah.
There's only one here. We need more. But it's okay. So yeah, now we're gonna go ahead and jump into our watch party, which we do every week. We watch if you haven't joined before, we watch a show chosen by you, the listeners, and we watch 2 episodes, and then we come here and talk about it. And so right now we're watching Shirobako episodes 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
And some cool news that came out just the other day. Yeah. So the Shirobako producers were discussing the possibility of a sequel, and they said that there's more stories to tell. Like there's so much like Miyamori can still do. Yes. I don't know. Like I watched the first 2 seasons are really good, and it ends in a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'll see eventually because we're on episodes 5 and 6. It's like very far away.
It's
But if it happens, I would be a very happy lady.
Right.
Or what if they just put out more figures or something? Like anything, please.
Yeah.
Please, anything.
Seriously, the only Shirobako
just
thing
love
I
it
have
so
is this
much.
pen. I will repeat, I want the bear as a plush. Make it happen.
I'm surprised it's not a blush.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
I looked everywhere. Make it happen. But yeah, so sneeze
Yeah, I
incoming.
gotta sneeze.
Uh-oh.
It's allergy
Like we
season,
said,
people.
a lot of us are either like allergy ridden or like our voices are like gone completely.
I'm actually-
That was the most adorable. Whoop.
Oh, was that a
Didn't
sneeze?
happen.
It didn't happen.
It passed.
I'm actually okay.
It's
I
gone.
don't know about you guys. I'm all right.
Oh,
Suck. You
I
have to suffer along with the rest of us.
yeah, the week we didn't have an episode, like Megan was in LA doing
That's right, yeah.
Final Fantasy stuff, but I didn't make a sound when I spoke. Are you okay?
Oh, my eyes are getting puffy.
Oh, no.
It's okay.
Just let it out.
Anyway,
Get this girl some
luckily
Benadryl.
you could be watching this on one of our apps, and then you won't get infected because there's a screen in between you
You
and
can
us.
just see me
Yes.
suffer if you'd like.
Yeah.
Oh,
In-
no. I'm
in-
getting congested.
in beautiful like a big screen.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
On
Xbox,
your-
PS4.
Yep.
All
Roku,
that,
Apple TV.
all that jazz.
Yes.
But yeah, so episodes 5 and 6.
Good
I made it work.
You
Good
did
point.
make
I
it work.
forgot
I
to
was
do that.
really
Yeah.
impressed.
Same.
Yes.
So I just want to read this because I didn't read this before coming in here, and then I started laughing at it. Phantom Enki at Namshibovenki, I feel like I screwed that up, says, Shirobako should be a murder anime, so Taro could be killed. He is the worst. Hashtag IG Anime. Remember,
Agreed.
you can send us hilarious tidbits like that using hashtag IGN IME on Twitter. But I love that. I agree. Taro is just trash garbage.
Yep.
Just
To
the
be
worst.
fair, the whole thing. Whoa, hi. My voice.
We're dead.
Megan, what's happening to us?
Shinda. No, I feel like Taro in this case, it was really Endo getting really stubborn in these 2
Yeah.
episodes, which I think was a bigger problem. I mean,
But Taro was
Sure.
also being really
He was,
bad.
yeah.
He wasn't-
being the liaison between those two.
And-
He was.
why? Who decided he should be the liaison?
Why is he a producer?
Why did they hire him?
Yeah. How did he even get a job?
Honestly.
So
Seriously,
bad.
yeah.
I feel like we brought this up before, but like there was that one tweet about how every office has a Taro, and I'm like, okay, but maybe the people who are in charge of hiring should like nip that in the bud. Like,
Yep.
why does
Basically.
he work there?
Yeah,
He's not qualified in any regard. He's terrible.
communication skills. And in interviews, you have to communicate. So how did he pass?
Right? Like I can't imagine
don't
them being
get it.
like, "So, what are your strengths?" And he's just like, "Nah." Like, like I imagine him in his interview just balking, and then they were like, you're fine. We need a producer."
Maybe there's
Yeah.
a casting couch or something. I don't know. I don't know why I took it there. By the way,
Excuse me. Okay, never mind. So
I'm just trying to think of logical reasons.
Okay.
But yeah.
and
Anyway.
but yeah, Phantom Enki, you got a good point.
Yeah.
I want that spinoff. Make it happen.
Aw.
Hey, if there was
He's
like a
the-
little comedy, like couple panel spinoff
Where
about
everyone just beats up on
about, like,
Taro.
Monokuma coming out and being like, and just wrecking. And then that's it. The end. Shirobako done. And I'd be like, all right, all my dreams have come true. Well, he's the worst. Moving on.
Yeah. Also,
Episodes
like,
5 and 6.
I hate how he didn't like talk to the director or the manager about that. It's like, really?
I just didn't want to bother them. Like, sure,
He
was
wanted to
locked-
cover his butt. Is
Sure,
what he
the
wanted
director
to
was
Yeah,
locked
do.
in a
dude.
cage, but we can still talk to them.
A producer's job is to bug people for things.
That's literally what a producer
Yeah.
does.
Where is this? Where is this? I need this.
Actually, I
Here's
think
the
he's
timeline.
a PA. He's a PA, isn't he? Production assistant?
Oh, maybe.
Like
Whatever
Mimo?
his job is, he's bad at.
But that's also kind of
And
his
in the
job-
same category.
Totally.
his job
yeah.
is to bug people, and he's like, I just wanna...
Yeah.
I hate him. It's the worst.
Yeah.
That's him. So we actually got some really great comments,
Yeah.
except
Oh,
my
goodness.
eyes are really bad.
Here, I help.
So we got from Tyler Grant Franklin.
Yeah.
Wrote an amazing piece on the Facebook group.
Right. So
Yeah, that's really cool.
Facebook.com/group/IGN Anime Club, the official group. We always have really cool contributions for the watch party that you can check out there. But yeah, Tyler Grant Franklin says, personally, episodes 5 and 6 are two of my favorite episodes of Shirobako because they delve into an issue that I care a lot about as a Sakuga animation fan, and it's something that the entire industry and its fan base has been dealing with more and more every year, CG versus 2D animation. So just stopping there for a second, that was kind of the conflict.
Yeah.
The central conflict was the explosion animation. We're doing it in 3D, and the 2D animators are like, that loses all the personality. What are you doing? You're taking away something that's really big to us, really important for our jobs. You're giving that to somebody else and taking away the charm and not charm, but the artistry that we put into
Yeah,
it.
the artistry into it.
Yeah, at first I was wondering, like, what's his deal, right? Like, why? I mean, give the work to someone else if you don't, because you have less off your plate.
Yeah.
But then, then I saw, okay, I understand. Like,
They
you
would feel
know.
like it's also his specialty, right?
Yeah,
Like his
exactly.
thing is doing effects, and like that's why he was noticed, and that's why he got pulled into the company.
Yeah.
And so that being taken away from you is like, oh, here's a cool thing you did.
Yeah.
But we're gonna take away. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's kind of the terrifying thing about being in an industry that is in its infancy. Not that anime is in its infancy, but the
We're going
technology
through
is
change.
always advancing. You're going through a lot of change. This happens to us too with gaming. It's like suddenly maybe your skill set isn't as relevant anymore, and maybe the new modern thing is what's going to take over. And I relate to, not that this happens to me a lot, but I understand where he's coming from, where he's like, oh my, like, let me do my 2D explosions, because if 2D explosions if they're not going to use them anymore, then what is his purpose there?
Yeah.
So continuing on with Tyler, deciding how and when to implement CG animation is often about cost cutting, but it can also be a deliberate artistic choice. Anime is almost synonymous with hand-drawn animation, but the truth is that very little animation is actually done by hand anymore. Certain members of the industry, as shown in these episodes to some extent, as well as many fans, are a little disheartened by that. And while I am not a fan of CG being used when it doesn't serve an artistic purpose, I think there is a lot to be said for embracing new technology and adapting to it. I'm happy to see more and more studios and animators doing that. Shaft, woo! Et cetera, et cetera. Ufotable and Tatsunoko Productions are all great examples of what digital animation is capable of in its own right. Whether just using tablets and computers for 2D animation, using CG for special effects, or rendering entire 3D backgrounds. I don't think that the anime we love is going anywhere. It's just diversifying with many new tools and styles available thanks to computers. I think that's a fair point too. Like, maybe we're getting more out of it. Yeah.
If it's balanced, although I'm still a little mad at Endo, because it's like, well, I understand where he's coming from. You're holding up an entire production by doing that. And they keep stressing this is
It
all
is
about a
very
group
selfish.
team.
Yeah, it is
effort.
very
It's extraordinarily
selfish.
selfish. Like,
Yeah.
there's a time and a place to file that complaint, but if you're going to halt the entire production, you're screwing everyone over. And they've all complained about that in previous episodes, so I found it a little hypocritical.
That would actually fly in the industry if they'd just fire him. Be like,
Probably.
I'll find somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea how it would work.
I mean, I'm sure
but
it's
I think he'd
competitive
be
now. Yeah.
super, super scolded for doing that.
Yeah, even all the times that Tara reached out to him, and even Miyamori, like, nothing? Like, really? Like, that's super rude. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's like I understand his complaint, and I think there's definitely a time and a place for him to do that. But going off in a huff and holding everyone hostage like that kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Tyler also brings up something really cool, which is the cameo. We know that Shirobako has a lot of cameos. The characters are based on real people. And so it says, there's a trying to think of where I want to start this. But the cameo is Kitano Saburo is Itano Ichiro. Tyler says, this man is one of the most influential effects animators still working today. His career began in the 70s on Mobile Suit Gundam, and he made his name on the Macross series due to his insane effects animation, his creation of the Macross Missile Massacre, or as it's more commonly known these days, the Itano Circus. The Itano Circus describes a barrage of missiles or other projectile objects shooting across the screen almost like fireworks. It has become such a hallmark of anime that it can be seen in literally hundreds of series. Just this past season, Gate, Divine Gate, and Iron-Blooded Orphans each used it, and I wouldn't be surprised if there were a few more instances as well. It was also featured in the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya as an homage. So that's huge.
Yeah.
You know exactly what that effect is when
Yep.
you hear it described. Like, I can picture it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've seen it a billion times. I know what that is exactly.
Yeah. And that's really cool that animator is a cameo in this show. That's just like, thank you so much for that.
cool.
Yeah, and he's just there for like a little bit. When Endo just goes out for drinks with his friend and him, and they just go to kind of go talk about animation and how he's just dogging on CG
3D.
and so that 3D is like bad and that key animation is where it's at, and then he's like, oh, but actually I'm teaching a course on 3D animation, so
That was
cool.
Yeah, that was what Tyler used to lead into this discussion. But yeah, it's like, oh, I'm adapting to the times changing. Why aren't you? Sort of thing.
yeah, like
That's very cool.
Yeah. This is so cool. I just want to like really give a shout out for this super, like, it's a whole page in our notes, this breakdown, and it's
if you're watching the video, and you should on one of our many apps, you have like this really cool just breakdown of everything that's going on in these episodes. It's really cool. I feel like Kevin S sort of paved the way for everyone to sort of jump in there and like talk about what they know about these shows. And it's really cool.
Yeah, and even if like we don't read the whole thing or your comment doesn't make it onto the show, like we do see them, and the discussions are super valuable.
yeah, like there's a ton of discussion on Facebook with this one too.
Yeah.
Del Toro puts it in a really good thing to kind of get into episode 6 is, well, who knew? Taro isn't completely useless. Apparently, he works great as a common enemy.
Such a good point.
That's very
Uniting against a force of evil.
Yeah. This guy is just the worst. And then Megan Murphy also makes a good point that the theme of like episode 6 is like, remembering the roots that led to your passion, and that's kind of what happens when they go to the Eat Opponent exhibition. So they have some tickets to go to this exhibition, and they all go, and then Endo-san and Shimo Yanagi-san. It's like the longest name. I was like,
that's a really
when they're
long
saying
name.
it in the show, I was like,
Shimo
that's
Yanagi,
so
what?
fast. Yeah. So you did too. Like Shimo Yanagi. We're arguing about the CG and the key animation.
Yeah.
And then they just get to, like, she makes a point that like they kind of just bonded over it, and it's just like this really emotional, like, oh, I totally know that feeling whenever you just meet somebody and maybe you're at odds with, and you find that one thing that connects you.
Yeah.
And it just makes everything better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just love that the message of this episode being like, so seeing the Eat Upon exhibit, and then Megan Murphy brings up like Shizuka seeing a play and being inspired for acting even after her botched audition that we discussed last time. That's really encouraging, right? Because this show sort of has this, it's not sad, but there is sort of a melancholy to like Miyamori being like so stressed all the time and so busy, and then going back and thinking about like Andes Chucky and thinking about why she's so passionate about anime, and people who were previously arguing, bonding over a common passion with anime. I relate to that a lot because this show has done that for people. Have been saying in the Facebook group, like the group provides a platform to talk about your passion, and for me, being on the show reignited my passion for anime in a really big way, and that this kind of comes through in this episode, and it really meant a lot to me.
Yeah, and there's a balance between the fact that it's work and it's also your passion project, because sometimes even if you're doing something you love, it's still work.
Yeah, it's still
and
hard.
There's deadlines.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's
hard.
really hard. And so every once in a while you get a little burnt out and you're like, what the heck am I doing this?
Yep.
And then you'll take a step back, and then they'll see something like the exhibit, and they'll see something like a play, and they'll be like, that reminds me of why I love this so much. And we all kind of need that little bit of space and time to recuperate, sort of rejuvenate ourselves, and then come back.
Yes.
You gotta find that spark again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yep, so it was just a really good little... I think these two episodes obviously pair super well together, so I'm glad we got to do them at the same time. And bash on Taro, because he's the worst.
I thought that was interesting how they locked the director in a cage.
Yeah.
That was a little weird.
Like they just
little
had
side stories of the director. Also, we finally got to find about Jiggly Heaven.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And what that was
what
about.
happened with that. Because like, why it's such a horror story is because they just didn't get it done.
Yeah.
He messed up. He got them behind.
Yeah, and it's sort of self-fulfilling prophecy sort of happening. You see, like, the cracks beginning to form if that's why he's locked in the cage. Like, you are not letting this happen again.
And then the guy had to motivate him was like, well, I guess we could do the last episode as a recap episode that, like, he was like, no,
traumatized. Yeah, definitely doesn't want that to happen again. And these production sort of hiccups
Are getting them there.
are getting them there, and it's scary. So...
Yeah. So hopefully this is not another Jiggly Heaven.
That would really be terrible.
Yeah,
I know.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Anyway, so great discussion, guys. Thank you for that. Thank you for your comments. And if you guys want to write us or just talk to us about the show, you can reach us on Facebook, and that's, again, facebook.com/group/IGN Anime Club. You can reach us on Twitter with the hashtag IGNanime. It's IGNIME. And on our email at IGN_animeclub@IGN.com. And then you can also reach us individually on Twitter. Mike?
You can follow me at XPMNMs.
You can follow me at MEGHAN_IGN.
You can follow me at Havoc Rose, and that's Havoc with a K.
I'm Inky Dojiko, INKYDOJIKKO.
Your anime voice just came out. Like, your
It
voice
always
went up like
does.
3 octaves. It's so cute.
I didn't mean to do
I think you do that like every time you say your...
Really?
Yeah. Every
It's
time you do your
adorable.
Twitter handle.
Oh.
I get all Genki.
It's an accident. It's just you have to say it like that because it's like
It's fun.
so
It's like a cheer.
dumb sounding.
No, it's
No.
not dumb. It's a cheer.
I had to explain to the editor-in-chief this morning that it means I'm a klutz because he witnessed me spill my coffee all over myself.
Oh.
I
He
did
was
that
like,
too.
yeah, he was
That's
like, you had a little disaster situation over there. This is like during a meeting where like I'm trying to clean up my coffee and other people are talking, and I was like, yeah, did I ever tell you about my Twitter handle and why it's what it is? And he's like, oh, that explains a lot. So
So you can compliment Callie on her Twitter handle on Twitter. Is there anything you guys want to promote before we go?
Just my awesome shirt, which I didn't get a chance to do earlier
Oh, yeah.
because there was no appropriate segue into it. But I got this awesome Goku versus Saitama shirt, and I'm going to
Super
wear it
cool.
next week because it's really cool.
Where'd you get it?
That is a really good question. Online. Can't remember the store. You know what? If you want to ask me directly, you can reach me via Twitter. It's the easiest way to get at me. So again, MEGHN_IGN, and I will tell you where to get this awesome shirt because Goku versus Saitama. Who do you think will win? Let us know. Not on the Facebook page. I'm afraid that'll start like a bloodbath, but you can,
no.
you can,
It's
you can
really-
tweet at
you
me.
can tweet at Megan individually.
There you go.
Yes, you can tell me what a horrible person I am and ask me who I think will win.
Before we go, I just want to promote that we will be doing our best anime of winter here
Oh,
really
that's right.
soon.
Yeah.
So look for that roundup probably at the end of this week or beginning of next week, probably the end of this week. I'm very excited to show you guys our picks, and we hope you agree.
I watched so much anime this weekend.
I know.
So much.
Ugh.
I'm trying to think if I
Pooped.
have anything interesting. I don't. I've been playing Stardew Valley. That's it. See my updates on
See,
Twitter.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you
Yeah.
guys so much for joining us. Have a great week. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.